Hey everybody, my recording tonight, we're going to focus a little bit on Friday, as we do have a slight risk of severe weather, as you can see there, but I'm going to focus primarily on Sunday. A lot of people are asking about that, a lot of things going on, obviously the race, and Sunday is a bit concerning, so we're going to go over that in detail. But first of all, Friday, I don't want to skip over Friday. We're at the low end, or what we call a slight risk of severe weather. This looks like it would be more of some wind and some hail. This is the hail risk. Notice how it drops off the farther east you go. This is going to be another case where I think the line kind of dies off as it moves through. So there could be some hail, and then the wind probably would be the bigger thing. And again, I don't think this is major, but there could be some stronger winds with some of these storms that come through. There is a small, and I do mean small, tornado risk. It doesn't look like anything major. As a matter of fact, there's really no risk. It shows in our eastern counties and only a low end 2% across the western areas. We couldn't rule out maybe a spin up with the front, but it's mostly wind and some hail, and a kind of a dying off fashion as those storms move in. And here's kind of the timing on that. This is 7 p. We have a few in our area, and then we have the line back off to the west, and this would be at about 11 p.m. Again, kind of fading down here where we are, maintain some of its strength to the north, and then it kind of moves out of the area. So Friday, I think a lot of the day fine. Late in the day, we'll watch for some storms. Wind, a little hail is possible. It does not look like to me right now that the Friday event is a real big deal, but it's something that we'll watch, of course. So let's focus on Sunday. So I've talked about this, I think, in my video last night, and if not, I've been talking to some people about this. This resembles to me a lot of what happened in 2004, the 20-year ago event, and ironically, it was on race day. It was May 30th of 2004 when we had severe weather in the morning with the warm front. We had a break, they started the race, and then we had more storms that came in, and ironically, in 2004, they actually ended the Indy 500 under a tornado warning. There were storms producing tornadoes around that area. So it was kind of a similar setup. Will it be that way this year? I can't say that. I'm just saying that it's a similar setup. And here I can show you that. This is the map forecast for Sunday morning about 7 a.m. Warm front lifting in, just like happened in 04. Cold front behind the low. This is Sunday morning. And then notice by Monday morning, it all moves by. The cold front has gone through. It'll be breezy. But the threat of severe weather would be over here on Monday, Memorial Day. That's the current setup that we're looking at. So I did a little digging. When you've been around for a while, you kind of remember these things. So I went back and looked. This is the map from about 4 p.m. on May 30th of 2004, 20 years ago. Look close. Warm front, remember I showed you the warm front at 7 a.m., but it's moving north. So that's probably very close to what we're looking at. The warm front is lifting north. Here comes the cold front swinging across Iowa and Missouri. You can see where it says SQL in there in central Illinois. That was a squall line of storms. So that's what it looked like in 04. The maps look very similar here 20 years later, almost to the day, ironically on race day. So we'll see how this pans out, but the setup is there for some stronger storms. Here's a closer look at that. And again, this is around 4 p.m., and along that warm front, we did have some severe weather, and the cold front as well. We really had off and on storms from the morning all the way to that night. It was a very stormy day. As a matter of fact, it was just shy of 4 inches of rain in Indy. It was the wettest Indy 500 also. I think 3.8 inches of rain that day. So let's look at what we're going to be looking at this weekend. This is all going to be Sunday. This is Sunday about 1 p.m. These are temperatures. As you can see, a lot of this area is mid to upper 80s. So we got plenty of heat in the atmosphere. These are forecast dew points. Anything above 60 is sufficient to produce some severe weather. If other things are there, we got dew points in the 70s. So we have plenty of heat from the temperature. We have plenty of moisture with the dew point. So this is the lifted index, which I've gone over. The lower the number, the more ability the air is to be lifted, and as if it lifts, it creates the severe weather. Those lifted index numbers are really low. The entire state of Indiana, most of Illinois, Missouri. This is forecast for 1 p.m. on Sunday, and this is forecast for 4 p.m. on Sunday. I mean, the atmosphere looks quite unstable all over this area. And again, you can almost draw the warm front and the cold front, and we're in that warm sector. So 1 to 4 p.m. on Sunday, lifted index numbers, actually the lifted index I'll show you in a minute is really low. This is what we call CAPE, which is storm energy. 1 p.m., bullseye right over this area. The storm energy is very high. And this is at around 4 p.m. And again, there's going to be some places where it drops a little bit because we actually have some storms that have popped up. But there's a huge amount of energy in the atmosphere. That lifted index I talk about is going to be very low. So is there anything to cap it off? We call it a cap. If the air rises and it hits a warm layer, it will then fall back down. We call that a cap. There really is no cap over this area. So if the air parcels can start going up, they'll keep going up. Not really anything to keep them from rising. I've talked about wind shear. I want to go over that. This is forecast for 1 p.m. on Sunday. These are winds just barely off the surface or close to the surface. And I've drawn that white line right over the Vigo County area as a reference point for you. We have at the surface pretty much due south winds, okay? Now I'm going to take you up 18,000 feet. See the difference? A distinct shift from a south wind to a southwest wind up to 18,000 feet. And by the time you get up to jet stream level, we've got almost due west. So there is definitely wind shear, a change in wind direction with wind height on Sunday. That's something we watch when we look at severe weather. This is just one model run of what it may look like. This is at around 7 p.m. on Sunday. This would be at about 10 p.m. on Sunday. And this would be at about 1 a.m. Sunday night, Monday morning. And again, we can't really get into the exact timing on it yet, but definitely Sunday after. There could be some in the morning with the warm front, but then Sunday afternoon, evening, we'll be watching pretty close. This is an upper air sounding plot. A couple things I wanted to show you. We talked about the wind shear. I have the arrows in there. Again, the surface wind coming from the south, and I have the second arrow is about jet stream level, almost due west. Definite change with direction and height of the wind over this area. And I've highlighted a couple things here. I talked about that lifted index. That's the LI. Minus 14 is about as low as you're ever going to see. The lifted index is really low. And this CAPE number, that's extremely high. And you get above 2,000, 3,000, that's a lot of energy in the atmosphere. And it's forecast over this area almost 6,000. So there's a lot of energy. The atmosphere is unstable. And again, this is in the afternoon, early to mid-afternoon on Sunday. Also, if storms can rotate, they can produce big hail. All hazards are on board for the possibility on Sunday. This would show some large hail possibilities as well. So let's go over these maps here real quick before I run out of time on my recording. This basically shows where there could be severe weather about 7 p.m. Sunday all over this area. Here's a broad brush on Sunday of the severe weather chances. We're going to break it down for you. This is wind. Wind is obviously a concern. This is hail. Again, all hazards are possible Sunday. And now this is the one that we'll watch. There is a tornado possibility, and I can take you in a little closer. Right now we're bullseyeing central Illinois, but it's something we're going to be watching. So the wind, the hail, and potentially some tornadoes somewhere near the Ohio Valley. It's too early to pinpoint the exact location, or for sure that may happen. I'm just throwing it out there that we're looking at that. This is Storm Prediction Center. They've already been highlighting this as well, so all these things that we look at are all on board with this. And this is the one that I show a lot, and I really find this one to be accurate. I've been using it for a while now. The severe weather risk for Sunday night. I can zoom in for you, and basically when you see the hatch line, that means there's a greater risk of more significant severe weather, stronger winds, larger hail. The black dot I've talked about, that's where there's the highest probability of severe weather, and that's centered over our area. It couldn't be more bullseyed over this area. Now, this may change. Things, depending on the warm front, the cold front, and the timing, and there's a lot of variables when it comes to severe weather. But the point is we've seen some consistency in this, that Sunday is a time period we've got to watch. I can't pinpoint exactly to you when exactly this could happen. This can happen, and my point is this: I want everybody to be weather aware on Sunday. A little bit Friday, but Sunday. Anytime from the morning, especially in the afternoon and the evening. And of course, I'll have more updates for you, but we got to keep an eye on Sunday. So here's the forecast as we get you ready for the holiday weekend. Friday, storms late. You saw the timing on that. Could be a few stronger storms. I'm not real worried about that one right now. I'll watch it. Saturday looks like a good start to the weekend. Sunday, that's the day we're watching. There could be a few leftover showers Monday morning, Memorial Day morning, but I think after that it's fine. And then next week calms down and it cools off back to normal. So after we get through the holiday weekend, it looks like a much calmer weather pattern. Highs in the 70s, lows in the 50s, and some dry weather. But again, late Friday and especially Sunday, we'll be watching both of those time periods.